As I grade master's level writing assignments for students, I see that there are some common errors. Even though the writing is good, there are some common errors. So I thought perhaps we could just review some of those rules we learned in elementary school that we don't use very often, that we forgot, and see how they work so you can use it in your own writing now. Now I have not included all of the rules, and I have not included grammar language, so an English teacher would be very upset with me, but hey, for us it will work fine. First, let's look at the apostrophe. There are two ways commonly to use an apostrophe. First is as a contraction and second as a possessive. A contraction is two words made into one word, and where you took out a letter, you put the apostrophe in its place. You would say, it's my belief that. You can use the apostrophe if you could have said, it is my belief that. If you can't say, it is my belief that, then you can't use the apostrophe. The second it's is the one without the apostrophe. That one is possessive. It shows ownership. The company went out of its way to help us. And you couldn't say the company went out of its way to help us. It doesn't work, so you can't put an apostrophe there. The second use is as a possessive, where you're applying the apostrophe S to a singular. I didn't show you the plural rules. You go look, you type possessive rules on the internet, on Google, or apostrophe rules or something, and you can see all the rules. But this is Sally's book. The manager's opinion was different. Where you're showing possessive, you put an apostrophe S. The most common error I see is forgetting the apostrophe. Here are some semicolon rules. First, you have to know what a semicolon is. It's the dot and comma together. And I can tell you a very simple way for this rule to be used. It's so simple. Instead of putting a period between two sentences, you put the semicolon, because you wanted the two sentences to be looked at as a single unit. John went to the store. He had not been there before. You could put a period, take the period out, put the semicolon in. That's all there is to it. And then I thought I would just tell you that if you have a list of items, if you have Detroit, Chicago, and Dallas, you would put commas between them. But if you have Detroit, comma, Michigan, Chicago, comma, Illinois, and Dallas, comma, Texas, you can't put comma, 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 so you put semicolons between each item in the list. And by the way, if you're using a list with commas, the one before the last one, before the word and, is now optional. I learned in the old days, and so I still use that last comma, you'll see in my examples, but it is now optional. Well, that was a really easy rule to learn, wasn't it? And it's been so hard for us all this time. Lots of people have trouble using the semicolon with therefore. There are two ways you can use therefore in a sentence. One is to put therefore in the middle of the sentence with commas around it. I conclude therefore by saying blah blah blah. That's the one with commas around it. The other thing you can do is make two sentences. Use a semicolon. The stock market is down, period. Therefore, comma, my investment values have diminished. Take the period out, put the semicolon in, you have the same rule as before. The stock market is down, semicolon, therefore, comma, my investment values have diminished. And the colon rule. The colon is two dots. I see this mistakenly used all the time. People use a semicolon when they should have used a colon. Use a colon when there is a list or more details to follow. I gave you two examples. There are three categories of knowledge. What are they? If you could say that, or you could say, the following three categories of knowledge, blah, 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 was it? You put a colon, and then you make the list. And the second sentence is one where there are more details to follow. That class is preparatory, colon. It prepares students for a college level class. You see how I'm giving more information? And then the other most common use of a colon is on the salutation of a business letter. So a personal letter, you would say, Dear Sally, comma. But if you're writing a business letter, you would say, Dear Sir or Dear Mr. Smith, colon. And that's all there is to it. Those are the most common errors I find. See if you can fix those up in your writing.